So, hi Helen, happy to have you here, and I'm really happy that you could join us today. Helen Mussard is a CMO of IAB Europe. She is a great AdTech leader today. She achieved a lot, so I hope she could share a lot of her stories, ideas, and some really interesting answers for our questions. So this is initiative AdTech Woman Power, launched by Blasto. We try to amplify voice of women just to raise awareness about this question and to share the pace of all the women that are trying their best in programmatic and in AdTech. So, Helen, how are you? How is your mood today?
Good. I think it's good. It's always a pleasure speaking to you and working with you. I think we were delighted when you guys joined as members, and it's been great getting to know your company more. And as you said, like having really strong female representation in our committees. So yeah, my mood is very good. It's freezing cold outside, but the sun's shining, so I'm happy. I'm fine. I can deal with the cold as long as there's sun.
Yeah, this is the best that could happen, great weather. So I will ask you first question about your background, your experience. You have worked across really different industries, and it is exciting to hear how you landed in AdTech, in programmatic, and what actually drew you to work in programmatic advertising, why you choose to work at EAB Europe. Really happy to hear it.
So you're right. My background in marketing, it's kind of the same tools and tricks that you can use across most verticals, most organizations. So I had a very varied background, starting off in civil engineering. And then actually my role before I got into the world of programmatic advertising, I was working agency side in Berlin. And my client was the European Commission, so doing lots of communication projects for them. I then moved back to the UK. They're still doing some freelancing for them and thought, okay, now I'm going to look at my next role. So I was offered actually two roles. One was within the ad tech world, and this was completely new to me because the communication campaigns that I was managing in Berlin at that time, that's about 13, 14 years ago, digital was a tiny part of the plan. You know, like we had very big traditional methods in place. So the digital component, I would speak to my colleague and they would plan all that and do a small bit of programmatic, but it was still very, very niche. Actually, don't even think programmatic was around. It was more direct buys with different publishers. So I didn't know too much about it, but yes, moved back to the UK. I was offered a job by a kind of, I wouldn't name the company, but a big accounting firm, one of the top big accounting firms, working in their public policy marketing. And then I also had this other opportunity at Vibrant Media, which was this big contextual ad tech company. And the reason I decided to go down the programmatic route was the people. I was so impressed by the teams that were in place. I love the fact that, you know, just even walking through the office for my interview, I saw the tech team and the engineers. I saw the creative team. I saw the sales team. I saw the publisher relations team. And it was to me, it was definitely where the industry was going. I could already see that the budgets were starting to get bigger in this. I was won over by the leadership team. I love their entrepreneurial sense. And that was the deciding factor. It wasn't actually the pay of the job, but it was like, what's the next big thing? How can I really work with these people? So yes, started that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. People are the best part of the job that you could meet, and I agree. The Mexico just showed it that it was really great connecting with people in real life, and people in programmatic are really amazing. So there are a lot of challenges from in your job, as I could see, as for now. So could you please tell me like specific marketing challenge at IAB Europe that you faced and how you managed to overcome it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess there's a couple of challenges that we've had. The first is our members. As you know, they come from all across Europe, which is fantastic. It's extremely diverse. Typically, English is not the first language for most of our members. And we noticed that when we were working on different outputs like guides, let's pretend it's like a guide to CTV, it tended to be those members where English was their first language that would volunteer. And I started to ask around and I'd see these, incredible experts. And I'd say, why are you not contributing? And they would say, well, I maybe don't feel that confident. So what I did was, for one of the guides that we did around attention measurement, I said, let's bring everyone into like a round table setting virtually. We employed a journalist to take notes of everyone so that we could ask the questions rather than writing it all down. We could ask the questions, people gave their expertise, and then we drafted the responses, shared it with the group for their feedback. So I think understanding your audience and seeing if there are people that aren't so engaged, like really trying to figure out like what is the reason they aren't engaged and what can we then do to make sure that we have more of, an inclusive environment for our members. So that's definitely one of the challenges. And I think we've overcome that. And you see it in our events. We make sure that the majority of our events are virtual. Again, we're always looking to have representation across the stakeholder groups, across genders. We try and get those voices that typically, even if they've never done a panel discussion before, we're like, please step up. We can guide you, we can mentor you, we can give you the ideas, you can have a one-to-one with the moderator. We really don't want there to be any boundaries. And then the other challenge, which you will know, is probably maybe on a wider level, just comes down to our industry. So we have to really focus on increasing trust within the industry. It's such a shame that 99% of the companies organizing it are incredible, innovative, as I've talked about, the companies I've previously worked at. And then you'll get a couple of bad players, which would be in any industry. So we really strive to try and show the quality and the responsibility within our industry. And that's, as a trade body, is our biggest role there. It's trying to increase trust, investment, trying to demonstrate the best practices that are going on. So with every single output, it is always that, it's in the back of our minds. The audience is advertisers. What can we do to really try and educate them on the merits to this particular channel, try and demonstrate the profile of the people that are involved and give them, like the KPIs, the metrics, so that they can see it's a really measurable, safe, quality environment to operate in.
Yeah, of course. I think working with different companies around the world, it could be really challenging. Like, it's difficult to connect everybody together. You have to try really hard to do it. And I guess, and I'm really sure that you managed to do it really well. So I hope other initiatives that you have will be even more greater than it is now. And talking about some trends, we see that 2025 will be the most, I think, growing year for programmatic industry. It's growing every year. And talking about that, what are the most significant trends you see shaping the future of the programmatic advertising? So maybe some thoughts on that.
So trend, this is actually fantastic timing because we're just working on our 2025 work plan and looking again at like, what is it that we should be focusing our attentions to? So the biggest one, let's start big, the reliance on third-party cookies, it is changing. We're seeing much more push now towards privacy-centric advertising. We've seen like GDPR, the evolving privacy law. The industry is definitely pivoting towards, first-party data strategies, contextual targeting, IDs. So the emphasis is definitely still on delivering personalized experiences. We want to do that. We know that consumers really appreciate having much more personal advertising experiences, but that it does respect their user privacy. So that's definitely going to be a big one. And you've seen we've got our post third party cookie group at IAB Europe, and we're trying to just showcase more of the alternative solutions in that particular area. And then kind of the other extreme to the end of that is around sustainability. So it's definitely becoming a priority for the digital advertising system. You've got companies that are now actively working to minimize their carbon footprints. They're measuring it. They're looking at energy efficient practices, trying to deliver like leaner ads. So that's something that I don't think will slow down. It doesn't feel like it's being talked enough about this year, not maybe compared to 12 months ago, but that's a good thing. It means that it's integrated now into practices. AI, if you're talking about trends, I don't think we can escape AI. We've seen that it's already been for the past decade. If you look at the performance side of AI, the predictive element, it's played a huge role in how we optimize campaigns, how we enhance targeting, driving efficiency. So we're definitely going to see next year like how it now reshapes creativity with the use of generative AI. So that's definitely going to be a big one. And then looking at channel growths, I think CTV, retail media, omni-channel, these new kind of emerging areas are going to be other ways that we can reach audiences. But what we have to make sure is we've got the measurement strategies in place. So there's going to be, to coincide with that, a big focus on cross-media measurement and bringing the industry together to finally get that.
Yeah, totally agree with you. You have mentioned all the trends, and I see there are a lot of them. Actually, the big question how to connect privacy and personalized experience. Yeah. It's really difficult how to manage to do all of it. It's difficult, but really interesting what the future holds for us. And talking about just women experience and challenges that are related to this field, what are the biggest challenges you see yourself and maybe your colleagues face in AdTech leadership roles, and how you can support them, like AAB Europe or maybe some voluntary organizations you work for, as I have known that you support a lot of initiatives that support women.
So you yourself would know that women in ad tech will face several challenges, I think, including underrepresentation in leadership roles. And sometimes it can almost be like a simple thing, like just not having access to influential networks. There are now an abundance of women in programmatic, like these ones that have come up in the last couple of years. But I even remember times when companies I was working at, they would have a golfing day, and it would just be all of the senior males that were invited along because it wasn't deemed maybe that women would enjoy those kind of sports. So we definitely want to shift away from kind of like the old boys media club. And it's something that IAB Europe, like, we're super conscious of. We talked about, like the events that we run, we always make sure we have balanced people, and we strive to find females. I will spend like probably 50% of the time planning an event is reaching out to different females and trying to get them to join the panel. And then, like, please, would you consider this? And pushing marketing teams as well, our members, like, what great females have you got that we could put forward? So we really try that way to help females. And then again, the groups you mentioned, the women programmatic, those type of groups, I think are a great way to bring people together and to help network and just grow their confidence and help to balance things as you move through your career. You're balancing your professional responsibilities, but you've got your personal responsibilities, be that children, so returning to work after maternity. all of those things, I think companies can do a bit better to support women and retain them, so that they want to come back after their maternity, and make sure that you're helping them be set for success in their role.
Very good point about maternity. I have seen a group created by some females that have the goal to create a community of people from the ad industry who actually the women who have their maternity leave, and they want to be updated, they want to be in the industry, but actually now they don't have time. So yeah, great. I think.
All that, yes. I just saw it. There's a lady, Zoe Baptiste, who I think is one of the founders, and I saw it on LinkedIn the other day that she posted. And it's such a great, exactly, that's the same thing. But, that's women that have come together, figured out it can be quite lonely on maternity. You need to keep up to date with what's going on. So that's not, because our industry changes so much. You're out for a year, you come back, and it's like, oh, I remember I came back and I was like, what retail media? Like, what retail media? How's this work? And so having those support groups that you can dip into and you can chat to people, I think is fantastic. And I think, if employers are able to support people with them attending these groups and giving them information that these groups exist, is definitely a win-win.
The win-win 100%. And actually, talking about maybe advice that you give to other women, because you are in a strong position, have really great role. So what piece of advice would you give to other women who aspires to some leadership roles at in the programmatic or both at tech, just at industry? So please, could you share your advice?
Definitely. Number one, I think, build your expertise. Like, we know that knowledge is powerful and it should be your foundation. So as we we're just talking about then, it is hard when you're on maternity to stay ahead and stay up to date with industry trends. But, if you're not on maternity, then that's exactly what you should be doing. I think I always say to my team that they should be knowing. They don't need to be a TV expert or an operations specialist. They should have a good idea of the different channels, the different formats, mastering their technical knowledge. So because it helps with confidence, it definitely helps with credibility. And again, like within marketing, with my role, we cover so many different things. So, try and build your knowledge around market research, do short courses on that, build your knowledge around PR. It is just a case of just keeping yourself, like, continuing professional development, because in other industries, my husband's an engineer and he does that all of the time. Once a year, they have to report back what they've done this year to keep up to date with all of the developments within engineering. So we should be doing that ourselves. I think the other one is, as we talked about women programmatic, like, find mentors, find allies, surround yourself with people that inspire you, that challenge you. There's an organization called Bloom, and they're fantastic for, like, female mentorship. I'm sure you know about these, but like, if you are starting your career, use these organizations, because there are incredible mentors around, and we empower women. We want them to do well in these roles. So yeah, definitely find a network and those things. And then when it comes to personally, I think it's important to take risks. Like, not to be afraid to go outside your comfort zone and always be open to things. So I mentioned before, I worked in Berlin, I've worked in New York. That's just because I was open to those opportunities. Truly was. It's just always being willing to try something else. And then that finally just correlates with, speaking up for yourself. Ultimately, it's down to you. I remember when I first landed in Berlin, I'd never been to Berlin before I worked there, never in my life. And I turned up, and I remember being so nervous for my first meeting at the agency. And I realized, actually, it's all down to me. it's me. I've put myself in this position. I've got myself there. I should be proud of myself. So I think really making sure that we take those moments to realize it's us. We do it. We are the ones that are responsible for our great things. Don't focus too much on the negatives, but to really kind of like applaud those small things. And that just helps change your mindset to be like, no, like I'm proud of myself. I came here, I got this job, I'm doing it, I'm taking these risks, and if it all goes wrong, well, that's fine because I've tried. And I can never be, like unhappy with myself. So I think like having a positive mindset, it sounds so cliche, but it just helps. And we all just want to work with people who are nice and kind, ultimately. So I think it's just a good thing, like be kind, nice, be positive. And if you're not, speak up and tell your colleagues, because we all have rubbish days. So it should just be a very open and supportive environment.
Like this, I just really like them. And actually, talking about self-esteem, self-respect,
Yes.
it's all about being confident, being ready to take risks. So totally agree with you. But having a great foundation, it's very important in some tech moments or other educational stuff. I think you need to be open-minded to new challenges, possibilities, propositions. Yeah, just be ready to take it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. That was a nice discussion. I think you cover a lot of topics, and it was really nice talking to you. I hope that you enjoyed our conversation too.
It's lovely to reflect. I don't think I've done an interview like this for a long while. Sorry. So it's just been really nice to reflect and to really think about, what advice you would give to other people and how we can just foster development and really truly encourage women to step up. And it's not even step up, like just step into what they deserve. We don't need to step up and compete against men. We just need to really understand we do deserve this. And if there are barriers, as we said with everything, what is it that can be done to overcome those? But I always say to people, like, reach out to me. I have lots of people contact me on LinkedIn, say, can you help with this? Or, like I'm a small graphics design company, maybe we can't use them, but I still take note of them. Like we just have to be open to always helping people along our way.
Totally agree. Like, I just wish that people will be like you and try to help everybody else in their positions. Yes, I hope maybe someone will connect to you via Bloom community that you are mentoring at. So I hope it could be a really great experience. And I wish we could have like more interviews with women like you, confident, really successful, and that are showing their strengths in AdTech and Programmatic. So really happy to have you here today and to speak to you.
Oh, thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. I really do. It's very, very kind of you to invite me. So thank you very much.